Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 21st, 2026 Abington Finance Committee meeting. We are meeting tonight. We have a good agenda and we have a nice crowd here with us. Tonight's agenda, we will go over an update on the fiscal year 27 budget, where things stand. We'll get an update from our town accountant and our interim town manager, who's with us with our committee for the first time tonight. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And then we will meet with several department heads. We have our town clerk here. We have the council on aging and the council director here with us, and we have the police department tonight. Then we'll go over standing business, liaison reports, correspondence, review of minutes, and discussion of our next meeting. And so why don't we head right in with update on where things stand, the latest for the FY27 budget.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, and thank you for my invite to be here. I'm looking forward to working with you in the committee on the challenging work that we have ahead to work on together. As folks know, Andrew's been meeting with all the department heads regarding the FY27 budget, and we're putting together actually two budgets, level funded budget and level service budget. If the override passes, we'll be able to maintain level services. If the override fails, cuts will need to be made. I'm in the process of scheduling meetings with the union next month to address potential reduction in staffing. If the override doesn't pass, we have to impact bargain with the union. Andrew and I will need to look at unemployment insurance. That's one of those costs. If in fact the override doesn't pass and we have to make cuts, we have to take into consideration the cost. There's a cost to laying our employees off. So we need to take a look at that. It's roughly one for every three. Governor is giving her State of the Commonwealth address on the fourth Wednesday, which is next Wednesday, the 28th. That's important because that will give us our first look. Normally she does the State of the Commonwealth and then she reduces, gives out her budget, and we'll have a glimpse of what local aid will look like. That's the first cut. You know, her numbers are usually a little more generous. The House and Senate work on it. They take into consideration, they're further down the process, so they fine-tune the numbers, and then, of course, conference committee comes out with the final version of what those numbers are. But those are going to be important numbers because local aid is something that is going to be in the mix for putting the budget together, that and free cash. Let's see, we're waiting on our health insurance numbers to be finalized. Two of the biggest challenges, as everyone knows, is health insurance and pension. Plymouth County's on track to fully fund their pension system by 2031. That schedule is in the process of being updated. We're getting ready to finalize the free cash number so that we can send our financials to the state for certification. We've set a deadline for January 30th. To be able to do that, to leave sufficient time for them to certify the free cash. Requests from department heads for capital requests have been submitted, but Andrew and I met, and we haven't at this point identified a funding source for some of the needs that we'll have to address. More information will follow as we move forward, and thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with everyone. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And short time I'm here, the questions I know can be answered by Andrew that I can't answer. So thank you.
Thank you. Barbara?
I had just had a quick question either to the acting town manager or to Andrew. Can you give me the full number for if the complete menu of, the complete override menu were to pass? What does that tally up to?
Thank you.
You want the value of the override? It's still...
And I don't think we'll have that exactly till we have
That is correct, Mr.
the
Chair.
budget
Do you have,
fully fleshed out,
I'll
where we're at right now.
I'll go backwards then. Currently the deficit number.
Well, it's still... Without the local aid numbers, it's not...
What's your ballpark?
So we had a ballpark several months ago when we started this,
Right.
which was between 7 and 8 million.
Less than 7 and 8 million. So it's improved with the amount of...
Good.
coming. That's still better than 7 or 8.
In the deficit?
If we want full
Yes.
level services, if we were to fund everyone to what they needed.
So I think to answer for them, what we're trying to do through this process is we know that level funded will be the funding of last year, which will be difficult to achieve without laying people off, laying significant amounts of people off. Level service, we know will likely go over what revenue we're able to take in. We obviously want that number, the number we go over, to be as small as possible so that any voting on any override is as limited as possible. So one of our tasks that we've been going through, meeting with each department, is not just, hey, throw out your wildest number, but throw out what's a reasonable number for level service and the best you can do.
Right, but you've met with departments, so you know what departments are asking for?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes, they're all in.
So where are we at?
So,
I think that's what she's asking.
I'm just saying, you've met with the departments, you know what they're asking for.
Why are we hesitant?
Well, I don't want to scare people with, local aid.
It's gonna hit the fan at some point.
Local aid could be better. And there's still a lot of numbers out there that are still outside.
That's why I was, it's just okay. I get it.
But it's also not gonna be one override, right? It's still going
Correct.
to be.
It's
All
a menu.
separate.
Piecewise menu, right, so,
That is what the selectmen have put forth.
right.
And we can't change that still?
Yes, we can.
Well,
It can be changed.
It can be
it can be,
changed.
We are not the ones who can put that.
We can make
The
a
selectmen are the ones who control.
No, the selectmen put out their recommendation, and the finance
True.
committee puts out their recommendation, so our recommendation can be different from their recommendation.
But they make the ultimate.
No,
Town meeting.
town meeting
Does the
will make
selectmen know
the,
how negative we are?
They know as much as you know.
In terms of how it's structured?
Yes.
yep, so that the selectmen direct the town manager to come up with a budget, and the selectmen voted to put forth a menu-style override to help that budget become balanced. Then the town manager comes to us and gives us a presentation of that budget and that menu-style override. And then we discuss amongst ourselves whether we are going to recommend that to the townspeople or not. If we choose to recommend that to the townspeople, then we go with a consensus budget to town meeting and present that, and then the townspeople vote whether they agree.
Right.
If we disagree, that we don't agree with the proposed budget that the town manager has come up with at the direction of the selectmen with a menu-style override, we can make a different recommendation. Then two separate recommendations would go to town meeting, and the townspeople would choose.
Okay.
Has that ever happened?
Yes.
Okay,
Not much though.
right. Okay, thank you for that.
Only really happens in very bad economic times.
That is correct.
And
It's not an everyday
we're in very
occurrence.
bad
I
economic
was
times.
like, I just heard 7 or 8 million.
The goal is always to try
Yes, of
and,
course.
The goal is
and usually.
To have consensus.
Right, usually if we strongly disagree on something, the town manager will try to work,
Yeah, of course.
come to some type of
Yep.
way that we can all agree on it. So that is usually, we try to, but we are separate from the,
Good.
which is why I wanted to know the numbers, but.
There's still a lot of uncertainty out there. Until, health insurance and debt is real finalized, it could go up, could go down. We don't want.
By a factor
We know,
of,
so we know, I think to Barbara's point, we know that the numbers right now are not what the numbers are gonna be when we get to the point where we're actually voting on a budget, as a committee, before we get to like we're voting on recommendation. We know that generally through the process, we start at a certain number, we work our way down toward balanced. I think Barbara's question is more just kind of how far have we come from where we started and where are we at right now, knowing that this is by no means a final number.
Well,
And we know we're putting you on the spot.
yeah,
So,
it's less than what we were initially planning. Like, we were assuming the worst and assuming there would be like a $7 or $8 million override. It's a lot less than that. I know the school department, we were initially thinking like there was going to be a $3 or $4 million override, but it looks like the difference between their level funded and level services is less than 2. So that's a huge relief, but still,
certainly
that's still a
better.
big chunk of
It's a
money.
it's a big chunk, but it's certainly better than 4,
Right.
for example.
So we could kind of take right now, we're at 5.
You could,
Yeah,
Maybe somewhere in that.
that's all we're looking for.
5 to 6.
Is there a date to when we'll know the exact number? It's not going to be after the governor's.
So.
right, there's a
For
deadline.
Floyd, Emily, who are new, we have to have recommendations on a budget 10 days before town meeting. We have to have our recommendations published,
Posted.
posted to the town and published 10 days prior to town meeting. Town,
Sorry.
yep,
This is a point of information. This time around, it's a little bit different because the deadline to put the numbers on the ballots is sometime in March.
okay,
I think March 23rd, I believe.
That sounds familiar, yeah.
okay. So our deadline is around where our deadline was last year, even though we moved town meeting to be later so that we would have more time knowing more real numbers.
Yes.
All right, that didn't work.
And just as a point of order, and I'm sure everyone's, in order for the override to pass, it's the 2 votes, so you need to vote. What gets voted at town meeting then has to be voted at the ballot.
Yeah.
If either one fails, then the override fails.
Yep. All right,
I'm good, thank you.
more questions? These are good questions. These are important things for everybody to know. And reminding people, if you have a question, somebody at home's probably got the same question, so don't hesitate to ask.
If I may, just, to Ms. Ray's point, I think everyone wants to get to the bottom line. What's the number? I think what we can fairly say is that the number is less than was anticipated. The more we dive in, I want to say that in the short time I've been here, the department heads have been incredible. They've really been working their budget. It's not a number you want to rush, and we don't want to have a lot of numbers out there confusing people. People on FinCom understand what the numbers are. We don't want to, certainly I'll speak for myself, and I know the select board doesn't want to be scaring people with numbers, but, I do want people to feel better that the number's coming down, that difference is coming down, and that's our goal, to keep whittle away at that number, so when we do have to ask the residents to dig into their pocket, that it's, the smallest number that we can get down to. And one thing I didn't mention in my remarks, but the select board on Monday night will be taking off one of the menu items, and that is for the police. They talked to the police chief, and, everyone feels that it's not fair to be asking citizens to dig in their pockets, even though we could use 4 more police officers. Just where finances are so tough this year, we're not going to do that. So the board anticipating that would pass, but be on the board's agenda for Monday night to make that adjustment.
Could you
So that
just,
will further refine those numbers.
what was the,
I
just,
don't know what the dollar amount is, but it was to add 4 additional police officers.
so I'm sure that's something we'll talk to Chief Bonnie about in a little bit.
Yes.
Tonight. So. Other questions? Comments? All right, thank you, everyone. I think that lets us move to our next agenda item, which is our department head meetings. We have our town clerk here. You wanna come on up? I know how much you love being in the spotlight, Leanne. Leanne, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. We do have a couple of new members since the last time we were here, so I think we can just go and introduce.
Hi, I'm Floyd Bartram.
We're Greg, I'm Matt.
Matt,
Hi, Chris Martin.
Emily Grozowski.
Abby Gendro.
oh, Leanne. Hi.
No, that was, take it away. Just so those that were watching know, we have packets with mission statements and achievements and goals. We don't want you to read verbatim. It's kind of up to you how you want to present your department before we get into line by line, but anything you want to say.
Yeah, just as a reminder to anyone watching,
Yes.
all of these are available on the accounting webpage on the town website. Just click on the FY27 budget book link and you'll get brought to this.
Andrew for those watching, Andrew has a ton of really, really good information on the accounting page for the town, from the town's website. I actually use it during these meetings, so absolutely go there if you're interested. There's a lot of really good information. And with that, I'm turning it
yeah.
back over for real this time.
Thanks for letting me have it. Other than the highlights and such that you've read, I guess I can just reread them.
Just if there's anything you want to point out or say.
Really? Not really, no.
Okay.
Because
That's
it's
okay, we can
kind of
jump
there.
right in.
We're not, our budget, I don't think is super crazy, and our largest expense is the salaries, mostly for, and that's for the elections. That's one of our biggest expenses.
What do we have coming up for elections?
The
FY27.
annual town election, and the special town election, the state primary, and the state election.
So you got 4 elections this year?
Definitely had more than that in some years, but
The year we, oh, wow, that was a crazy year.
And then, while we're on the topic of elections, Leanne, what would the expense be to your department for the override?
For that particular election, you mean, or-
Like, so to have that vote,
the override election,
the override election, so you, that would be.
which will be a held during FY26.
I'm gonna pass that one to you because it's, as far as cutbacks, is that what you mean?
No,
Because
I
we
mean,
don't-
the cost of having an override to your,
So if we
How much is it to have that
go,
election?
yeah, if
Oh, how
we,
much of the election, that's, okay.
Yeah.
They are, let me see. So the special town election, to do the machines, it's $700. The printing of the ballots is about $2,000. The staffing for kind of the before and after and all that is, it's not pretty, it's about $4,000. And the, anything to mail out approximately 100.
$7,000.
That's all right. And the postage is much higher for the state elections, and that we don't have a choice, unfortunately, and there's 2 of those.
right,
I want to tell you anything you want to know, I'll answer. It's just
What,
pretty boring, it's kind of is what it is, and we don't have choices. It's ballots and staff, and that's what it is.
what are our bigger differences between last year, this year, level service, level funded? I know there's not
This
a lot.
year is definitely, we're not going to be level in any way because of the elections.
Yeah,
And last year there was only 1, so it wasn't as bad. Well, there was 2, but definitely is not going to be as high as it is this year. That's why I say we're boring, because we don't have a choice. It's not like there's something
Right.
we could take away.
No.
Probably the mailing of all of them, I would like to take away.
Eventually, that would go away.
Yeah.
Not yet, but eventually.
Anything you can think of?
Just looking at the numbers, the election costs are what they are. We can't level fund that. We
Right.
can't not have the election.
Right.
So they're included there as fixed costs. Or considered to be fixed
And
costs.
Yeah,
Unavoidable.
Even then, it's not a huge amount anyway.
yeah.
I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
5, 6 million, 15,000 here
Right.
increase. While we want to cut everything we possibly can, it isn't necessary.
Right.
Not
It
cutting
is what it
much.
is.
Yeah.
There is some.
Not that we don't care.
There is some
Yes.
grant money available, I think, for early voting.
This one,
Right.
sorry.
There is the grant money available for
Yeah.
early voting from the state. So to the extent that we're able to tap that, that'll offset some of these costs. But it has to be spent only on early voting, as we've learned.
How much
Yes,
money do
as
we,
we've learned.
how much money do we really collect from like birth, marriage, dog registrations? Like just a total number? I'm sure it's somewhere that I
It's,
just,
I just put it up on the screen. You do have a revenue
Yeah.
page.
I was just trying not to, I was being lazy, Andrew.
It's all good.
Greg hasn't learned to read yet.
My question is, could we charge a little more for this stuff and would it make a difference? Like, would people be really upset that they paid $20 for a birth or death marriage record? I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Probably.
Mad or just did pay it?
They have choices. They could go to another town and price shop for that.
Oh, you can do that for birth and death records, go to other towns.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Not for a dog license, though.
Not for a dog.
No, that you have to get, yeah.
That one we could charge
I
$1,000
paid
for.
much higher dog license fees up in Watertown,
Did you?
Cambridge than down here.
How are you in line with birth and death certificates compared to other towns?
We're pretty average. Some are still $5, smaller towns.
$5.
I don't think I realized you could shop around. I mean, I have the original still, but.
Yeah, it's in the city or town that you or your parents are living in and that you were born in. So it's in 2.
Oh, okay.
And the same for the death.
My question was more, could it make an impact? That's all. For you, so you could,
I
Don't
would
worry.
guess based on the numbers that we
Yeah, if you
have,
look at-
the impact would not be
yeah,
very
Not
significant.
enough to,
right.
it would
got it.
really ruffle some.
It's not gonna
That does not make a lot.
close the $5 to $6 million gap.
Have these numbers ever changed in the last 10 years? 5 years?
They have, yeah.
Okay.
The most recent one was the intentions of marriage.
I mean, these. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
I have maybe a random question. I don't know if it makes sense. But so like this year now we're doing the override do you like put extra money into the election budget in case we have to do an election that wasn't thought of like before? Like,
No.
And I know that adds money
Yeah.
to the budget, but like.
That's why I
Yeah,
think
that's why it's surprising.
this year I'm probably going to be asking for money back
Yeah, we'll probably have
to
to.
pay for the special one that was not planned that we had in the fall.
Yep.
So sometimes,
And
the-
if we have the override election, to pay for that, so there'll be transfers at the end.
Yes, I did put that one in here. The
Okay.
override one is in there, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's my May 16th one, just in case.
Yep. But the special election for the select board was not something that we could have expected and
Right.
planned for, so. when
Didn't see
we're-
that one coming.
No, when we're in a tight budget, we're not setting money aside for unknown
Yes.
events that might happen. So,
except for, we do have an account
well,
for
true.
unknown events that may
Sure, we do
happen,
have
for
the-
situations just like that, so
Yeah.
our account,
The finance committee reserve fund.
Oh, I didn't.
that could be, if there wasn't a way to transfer reserves at the end of the year to cover that, then they would potentially come and ask for money from our reserve fund, which is for things like that, unanticipated.
So
things that just
as an
come up.
example, one of the things, while we've been on the committee, the furnace at the library
Yeah.
went kaput, and we had to take some money out of the reserve fund for that because it was unexpected and well before it should have gone bye-bye, so.
That it did. Yeah. Any other questions?
Anyone have anything else for Leanne?
I feel like I'm holding back, but it kind of is what it is,
You're
and
not.
it's kind of
It's,
boring.
It's very
Definitely one of the
Straightforward.
more straightforward departments, so.
Thank you.
And
And
thank
most
you, Leanne.
entertaining, let's not forget that.
I do have a question, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
son of a,
I know, I'm sorry.
Always one.
It
Always
is
one.
always me, I'm sorry.
it's Opie.
So, because you really don't have anywhere, an override doesn't pass, what does that look like for your department? Or do you even know
So-
yet?
Yeah, I don't,
So-
it's just the two of us, so,
Looking at, and I, of course,
There's no difference in
Fine.
their budget.
yeah,
I don't
Right.
think there would be.
Okay.
the planned budget for, there it is,
Town
top
clerk.
page, of course. Planned budget for the department, level funded versus level service is the same,
Okay.
because there's just not,
There's not a lot of wiggle room there, I guess.
yeah. It's all requirements, so.
Thank you.
All right. You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Leanne.
Thanks, Leanne.
So, thank you. God bless you.
I haven't seen that.
All right, next up, we have the Council on Aging.
Hi, everybody.
Amy, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Hi, hi everybody.
You want to introduce yourself and your department?
My name is Amy Barrett and I'm the director down at the Council on Aging. I think I've met everybody. I met you last year. Last year?
No.
No, okay. I'm
Emily
Amy.
and Floyd.
Nice to meet
Emily
you.
and Floyd are new.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you want me to, I was gonna read all this, but I'm actually not gonna bore you with
You
all
don't-
the things.
You don't have
It's
to
all
read it
there.
all. You can give us like snippets or
yeah,
highlights, or
no.
you can skip right past it.
I feel, I mean, budgetary, this stuff, we've kept everything just about the same. Our budget is exactly the same. We moved around a couple of things, but it's exactly the same. We added more money to one line, took away from another line. We don't need van repair because of the new van, so we added that.
Just what we were hoping.
Yeah, we got the new van, which is
Nice.
super exciting, yeah. So, and they take care of everything because it's a lease for 5 years until
that's
we
right.
own it. So, all the maintenance, everything gets done over,
Excellent.
at that, so, with the Brockton Transit Authority. So that being said, we just switched around a couple of lines. We added more to the education line because we did some training this year. It's the first year we've ever done that as a staff. We went to a COA, a Massachusetts COA counseling training seminar for the weekend, learned that we are cutting edge and we are innovators down at the COA. So just letting you know.
Very
all of
happy to hear that.
it was
Not
really fun.
surprised, not
It was really
surprised,
fun
but
though,
happy
and we
to hear.
learned a lot. So it was really great as a staff. So we are going to do that again. So we added it there. We added more money to our dues because our dues are going up because our registration and our population down there is going up exponentially. So now we have to pay more to the MCOA. So other than that, we kept everything there the same. And as far as our salaries, we added 2% for everybody, just across the board, which we're a 6-person staff. I mean, the highest one was 51 cents or something like that. So, I mean, I just think that's appropriate. So we asked for that, for the staff, and
The highest raise was 51 cents.
No, not total.
no,
51
for
cents an
the,
hour.
an hour.
Oh,
Yeah,
God. All
yeah.
right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sorry. You're like,
Hey.
God, that is, I'm like,
If
yes.
you were giving someone a 51 cent a year raise,
Yes.
that would
Yes.
not be.
No, not acceptable. But, I mean, just to put it into perspective, to me, that number is equally as important.
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean, so, the work being done, we're getting things done, our operating budget is the same. we are asking for that. I think it's appropriate for the staff. They deserve way more than that, way, way, way more. They are 6 people working like 20 people down there. And it's just, yeah, it's crazy. But, you know, that being said, we had funding, of course, you know, we get a formula grant, we get earmark contract awards, and that is supplementing our budget right now. We don't know what's gonna happen for FY '27, but the last 3 or 4 years, every year, they've gone up. We got our contract awards, they were a little bit less 2 years ago. They both got cut in half. We got 2 and they got cut in half from 25,000 to, 12,500, both of them. However, our formula grant is still going up. We get X amount, $16, I think, per senior, and we are, based on the census of 2020, I think till 2030, that formula grant is in that time range. And I think it's 4,099 people over 60, essentially, in the town that we get the formula grant for, which I'm not sure if that's accurate, because I don't know how many people in 2020 during COVID actually filled out the
form, yeah.
So now we know. We pay more attention to that when it happens. We try to get more people involved. It's just better for us all the way around. So, anybody?
So the difference, the only thing I see, the difference between level funded and level service is 6,000 more on the salary.
Correct. So we're
Oh.
under, if there were an override, that's what we would be looking at, under $7,000.
Okay. And if you don't get it, someone worse class hours, is that it?
We're gonna, no, I mean,
May.
yeah.
So if the override does not pass for the
Yeah.
COA, then they tap into the formula grant a little bit more,
Okay.
which,
I don't want to do that,
Right.
but
So you
the
have to-
salaries are already being supplemented by the formula grant.
Yeah.
And that's what it's for, essentially. I was paid primarily by the formula grant for several years when I was just doing Medicare and outreach. But that money is, you know, we hate to do that. So if we have to, we have to.
Okay.
We have to do that. We have
It's-
to do that.
it's not an ideal situation, because it still is a grant, even though it seems stable. It's,
Correct.
you never know what's gonna happen in the
Okay,
future.
Correct, yeah.
So we don't want to do that,
Right.
but you don't
So
have, you won't
it's-
have to cut people if they.
So it's similar to where we don't want to use one-time funding sources for budgetary purposes.
Correct.
In general, as a town, we don't want to use grant money for salary because
It's not
it's
an
not a
ideal.
sustainable
It
practice.
may not be, but again, to put things into perspective, we had to supplement salaries. I have people on staff that
Yeah.
are still making under $20 an hour, which,
Yeah, and
right, so.
hard to live off of.
I mean, and they're working so much, and so the only thing to do, and of course, understanding, I came into this position 3 years ago, and it kind of was what it was. We tried to get everybody, you know, we had to get everybody earning what they, although it's not what it should be.
It's better than it was.
Better than what it was, correct. So, and that was the only way to do it at that point, you know. I would hope in the future, hopefully when things are better, you know, we'll pick some of that up with the town and you know, because we can quantify it. They deserve it. I know it's, and understanding, you know, we're not gonna ask for crazy things at a time where people are losing their jobs. You know, we're gonna live within our means. But, yeah.
How's the building?
The building is great. The building's great. It's sound. We got the heat pumps in the back. That's not all completed yet. The second phase of that should be happening probably this summer. There was a grant that we got for the heat pump system, and it's toasty warm and it's nice and cool in the summer. The roof is relatively new. The building is good. We are looking to do a couple of things in the building that are going to enhance the property a little bit, make things more comfortable for the seniors. We are gonna get those chairs. If it kills us, we're gonna figure out how to get those chairs. We're on it. We're gonna figure it out. We're very close. It will help. And we have a couple of things that we could be working towards. You know, we're hoping to get a licensed clinical social worker down there from BSU. We're in a lottery. We're working with OCPC to get somebody down there. And, you know, of course, they'll do their hours, so it'll be an internship. And actually, OCPC stipends this particular position. So that's in the works. And I applied for an ADA grant for our bathrooms because they're pretty, I didn't get it. I tried, though. I did try. But there's something bigger going on in town. There's Liz Shea is, with all the buildings, trying to get something going with all the buildings. So we're going to hop into that and see if we can get anything addressed down at the building. But otherwise, it's a sound building. It's good. Everybody's happy. Everybody's doing their thing. We're making all the magic happen down there.
Extremely active from what I've heard.
Crazy
I heard your
busy.
last luncheon was packed.
80 people, I think, at lunch. They're coming, it's an active community senior center, it really is. So, and our enrollment, we're up over almost 1,200 brand new people. Brand new, never been in the doors before. So they're loving what's happening there, they're happy there, they're making friends, they're socializing. We've got 16 classes now, all day in our hours. We extended our hours a couple years ago, so. Yeah, so it's going good. Everything is good.
Excellent.
Can I ask, what's the thing with the chairs?
Oh, so when we got the building, the chairs were from the church. The building used to be a church
Okay.
20 years ago. And we have fabric chairs
Okay.
with no arms.
Oh, okay.
So
For
chairs
seniors.
without arms are really hard for senior citizens to get in and out of. And not to mention the fabric is just old and
Right.
we've tried to have them cleaned, but they're no good. So we got a few estimates, we found a company, we're just trying to work out the logistics of actually getting them to the building. We're this close, which it's gonna be a game changer for them. They're gonna be so happy. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not like fundraising or something?
No,
It's just-
no.
All right, new
You know,
chairs.
and the building, things like that for the building, that's what we would use, you know, the Airmark contract awards and things like that for programming, for the building, they're so broad now, we can use them for just about anything. We've been talking about it for 3 years, that's why we all giggled. Every time I come, I'm like, really need some new chairs for the building.
It's exciting.
Yeah, but, so everything, yeah.
Other questions for Amy? Barbara? It's always been.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Amy, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of the people who came with you.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
my hype girls.
Great
Yes.
staff.
Yeah.
They clapped for Leanne, why aren't they clapping for you?
I know, good question.
Yeah, we can.
Kind of threw him under the bus there.
I did.
Yeah, I did.
These for everybody too. I mean, just in case.
Oh, the informer.
These are the new ones.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing.
February ones.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pass them, take one and pass them down. Pass a couple back this way, I guess.
I've never read one of these.
No, I'm good, thank you. I have one.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh my God, these are so happy and colorful.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. I had the opportunity to go to
very
the
colorful.
Christmas party
Thank
and the
you.
luncheon this last Thursday. It was incredible.
Crazy.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh my God, people are bringing party favors.
Thank you.
I see somewhere,
The Museum of Science.
Thank you.
did I see somewhere that someone trying to light up police were on fire?
Yes.
In broad daylight,
Last Friday, yes.
Broad daylight,
outside the police
early
station.
morning hours.
The Chief's car.
Literally.
The Chief's car.
Feet from the door.
Yeah, it was the
Right,
Chief's
and
car.
pour gasoline out in the car. That's
Yep.
real smart.
Yep, thankfully that was prevented from happening.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Hey, everyone.
Mute it.
Mute it.
Try again.
That work?
That's better.
Technology.
So now we have the police
In
department with
stereo.
us with technology.
So, I got a couple things going on here.
So why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi,
and
sorry,
you
yes.
First.
I think I've met everybody. We did one meeting. I'm Chief John Bonney, Deputy
Yep.
Chief Postel. He talks funny. We get used to it. From down south. It's the only thing real special about us. We have a Deputy Chief who speaks with a fun accent.
I will point out, I grew up on the North Shore. This, where we are now, was down south.
It was down south. All right.
He was a little further.
I guess
than
I'm
that.
way down
Yeah.
I say y'all and I get made fun of.
There we go. There's nothing wrong with that.
So, I have, we can start with just showing the numbers on this here if you'd like. Did I share? Oh, it didn't share. Oh, there it is. So, I am gonna just rip the Band-Aid off. My level funded, budget is, $3,952,797 for my personnel side. And the level service budget is $4,781,110. That's a huge number, and we'll just get into it, because it's easily explainable. So, last year when I was here, we talked about some goals, on that first page. The 3 goals that I had set before you is that, one of my main things I was tasked with when I became the chief here is recruitment and retention, because that's been a big problem here, is recruitment and retention. In 2025, we hired and graduated 10 police officers, bringing us up to the minimum, well, it was 19 was our minimum staffing. And I'll show you that, but we had 1 on a grant that's costing us nothing, so we added to that 20. So the additional officer is not costing anything for 3 years, so we went for that. You all explained to me that, because I had pointed out that in 2022, we were authorized for 25 officers, and it was explained to me that we reduced our numbers of officers because we couldn't fill positions. And when I sat before you last year, I called 215 Central Street the field of dreams of police departments, because if you give us the numbers to fill the positions, we guaranteed to fill them. And I promised never to ask for additional bodies unless we had a minimum staffing. And we did just that. We filled the positions. We didn't just fill them with warm bodies, we filled them with good character people that are gonna be excellent police officers in this community for a long time, should we get the support. The second goal that we had set was getting body-worn cameras. We're wearing them now. That started January 1st. An agreement was entered into with the town and the patrol/sergeants union. For the body cameras, we worked on the policy. The union and administrative staff hashed out a tremendous policy that assures accountability for both our officers and the public. And I had mentioned this at the select board meeting the other day, and I'll mention it here before you. There's been a lot said about body cameras and how we need to have it for accountability to make sure the officers are doing the right thing. I have no doubt in the world, in the year and a half that I've been here, that our officers are out doing the right thing. The other thing it should do when we're wearing body cameras is keep people in check too. So hopefully the community won't act up. But I will say, and I'll say this before the whole town and all of you, should someone come into my department and file a complaint against one of my officers, and they lie about it, and it's caught on body camera, this is about accountability, not just for the Abington Police Department, but for the public as well. I will swear out the criminal complaint myself and file a false police report charge down in Brockton District Court. So this is accountability for everybody, and this is the greatest thing we could do for ourselves, for protection for ourselves as well. The last thing we wanted to do, and this was a bit more lofty, in 2024, we were about to go to the Mass Police Accreditation Commission, right? To seek accreditation again, to become reaccredited. The Abington Police Department, long before the deputy and I got here, attained accreditation. Obviously, we all know there was some instability in the department over the last few years. And as a result, accreditation was lost. So we decided to take basically a 1-year step back, a suspension type thing, and a team was assembled. Sergeant Feely sitting behind me, the deputy chief, and Lieutenant Justin Simmons, who is not here today. I can't get into the minutia in the hard work that went into this. The Mass Police Accreditation Commission suddenly switched computer systems on us. And so our policy maintenance software was kind of outdated. So not only did we have to reissue every policy, how many policies do we have?
Well over 165.
165? 165 policies that we basically had to rewrite and reissue to every member of the department in a very short period of time. And I couldn't be more proud to tell you all that next month, we will go to the Mass Police, excuse me, Accreditation Commission to receive our award for accreditation. We are once again accredited. We learned that last week.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
That is quite an accomplishment.
So additional achievements that we added on, if that wasn't enough, the deputy chief had started a neighborhood watch program with Officer Fitz. Other people are going to get involved. We built a state-of-the-art gym through ARPA funds in our barn. We assigned Detective Sergeant Lynch, who is a full-time detective sergeant with us, to the FBI Boston Gang Task Force. That brings a tremendous amount of resources and know-how and knowledge to the town of Abington and the Abington Police Department. Officer Resendez was assigned to the internet crimes against children, which those are the calls that nobody wants, the crimes that nobody wants to think about, the things that Dateline is made about, and it's the fact that she stepped up and said, this is something I want to do, says a lot about her. We also did brought someone in for our agency-wide wellness and resiliency program, some training in that. And we paired with the schools and the fire department for training on active shooter, and the instructor on that was the lead case officer in the Sandy Hook shooting. That training was incredible. And one of the last achievements we'd like to talk about that was additional, I know there have been some high-profile cases in the news in Canton, and cell phone usage for police officers has become a very hot topic. Margaret Frost, executive assistant to the chief, worked wonders with Verizon and was able to basically come up with a program. Every one of our police officers has a department-issued phone. As far as grant funding, one of the greatest things that we got outside of the body cameras with the grant, Lieutenant Kennedy worked very hard with this. He's sitting behind me. I talked about the VR program, the VR headsets, and it's hard to explain like what this looks like. So I tried to, let's see, I want to show you what this looked like. Here we go. So this is basically what the VR headsets do, and it goes into de-escalation training. We have 3 of these. We're going to have an open house sometime soon, so the public can try them.
Please stop.
Here, I'll turn this around so you guys can watch it. SMAC will overlay this after, Abington Cam will overlay that, but.
Don't try and pin this on me. You don't know what they did. That includes you.
How did I even get here?
So you see people throwing a knife, right? So someone's throwing a knife or throwing a gun, obviously we don't engage with that. So what that does is it helps us out in decision-making. These sort of shoot, don't shoot, tase, don't tase. If you talk somebody out of this, the computer recognizes that and the bad guy will put the weapon down. So this type of training, this type of technology, to have one of these things is incredible. To have 3 of them is just, I don't know of a police department around that really has these at all. We have 3. So on shift training, we have Do you know how many people are trained to do this?
5.
So we have 5 people within the building that can put our police officers through these scenarios during downtime. So it's this constant source of training for us that no other agency around that I know of has. We just, like I said, this year was
And you got that from a
we
grant?
got that from a grant. We didn't pay, the total cost of these would have been about $80,000.
Yeah.
So,
That's great.
Could we like, farm that out to?
as like a funding source would be amazing. But we can't really do that, but I do, just from the networking piece, yes, I do want our guys going into other departments. We could have other departments pay our guys to be there, but the police department can't generate revenue. There's all sorts of ideas that I'd love to pay, charge our custodies for cleaning the cells afterwards. And, if they make a mess, we can charge them with a malicious destruction of property. But it's not really a revenue funding, but I like the way you're thinking. I definitely do.
Greg is always thinking.
Yeah. Our overall structure of the department right now as it stands, our day shift, we have 1 sergeant, 3 patrol officers. We have a day relief. Yeah, we're gonna move on. We have a day relief of 1 and 3. Our evening shift, which runs 3 to 11, is 2 sergeants and 5 patrol officers. And these are numbers that we just didn't have last year. Last year, and I was before you, we had 11 people, and we were trying to get 3 out of the academy.
Yep.
So this is what our full staff looks like. So now, is that not switching? What did I do wrong here? All right. So this is the number. I heard somebody ask what it was gonna look like if we didn't get an override. So last year, when I was before you, I explained that getting us to minimum staffing, our salary line request alone, this is just the salary line in the packet, we would need $3,628,025. I thought we were getting, that was the level service number. Unfortunately, we ended up with $3,015,642. Had we gotten the level service number that we requested, this override would have been a heck of a lot more palatable than this initial ask. So we are now in year 2 of 3 of the contract with the patrolman and the sergeant's unit. It's one unit. So I went ahead to look at FY24 and what that salary line would cost to sort of calculate what the override number would be. And obviously, this would fluctuate here or there, what the override number would be a little bit. In your books, I have the override cost per household at 14. That's a typo. It would be about $15 a month or $45 per quarter. If we do not get the override and we get level funded, we lose the records clerk, which is currently an open position, a firearms clerk, the property officer, which is a part-time civilian position, the prosecutor, a part-time civilian position, our animal control officer, which is basically an on-call, but we pay him a weekly salary, 2 full-time desk people, 3 part-time desk people, and a part-time administrative assistant that's budgeted but not currently filled. Then we lose 6 patrol officers. So all of the work that we've done in the last year and a half to get us back to where we needed to be, a minimum staffing, again, I'm gonna harp on that over and over and over and over again, a minimum staffing, we lose 6 patrol officers.
And the minimum staffing's 20?
19, but
19,
one of them's
yeah,
a grant,
yeah.
yes.
But with all of it, it's 20.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you look at the asterisks there, records, firearms, property, and prosecutor, those are jobs that we have to fill. We can't just lay people off and not do them. We have to fill them.
Yeah.
So what happens is we'll lose 6 patrol officers. We lose all our administrative staff. So then we're down to 14 patrol officers. So then I have to take 4 of those 14 patrol officers and backfill these jobs that are required. So we're back to 10 patrol officers on the road. So that means nobody in the schools and 10 patrol officers on the road.
Does that affect accreditation at all?
It does not affect accreditation, no. But what it does is affects overtime costs greatly.
Well, yeah, that was the issue.
So last year, it's no secret, right, Andrew, we went just a small smidge over our overtime budget. So overtime budget last year, we were allocated for 140,000, but because we were so short-staffed, we used $476,664 just on overtime. This year, we've already expended, as of yesterday, we're in a negative for our overtime budget, even though the town meeting gave us an extra 40,000 for that overtime line item. As of yesterday, we're minus $65,616. Now, this shouldn't be a shock because I explained the first half of this fiscal year, even though we had the kids in the academy and they graduate, they don't count toward the road. 2 weeks ago, they were released from field training, a majority of them released from field training. So these open shifts overtimes that we had, Lieutenant Canada, our operations lieutenant, updated me that last week and this week, we have 0 open shift overtime. So it works. It works. That overtime, that $180,000 for overtime, that's for things like, you know, what it's set aside for. It isn't set aside for open shifts. It wasn't created for open shifts. It doesn't make sense to do that. Earlier tonight, we had a search warrant. We had an attempted murder yesterday. We had a search warrant today. That costs money to bring people in to conduct a search warrant. That's what that line's for. If an officer stays late to do a report, an hour or two, that's what that line is for. If we're fully staffed, that $180,000, I can't guarantee it because I have never seen a fully staffed year and a fully funded year, but I'm fairly certain that number's going to work for us. The only line I need changed is that salary line. I need that line changed. Everything else, I think, falls into place.
And tell me what 10 officers looks like.
I'm so glad you said that. We'll do that next. So this is difficult to read, but everything in yellow here is our new officers, right? So this is no open shifts. This is a typical week for us, and there are no open shifts here. If we had 10 officers, this is what it looks like. So everything in that bright purple is an open shift, which requires coverage. So we run 3 shifts, even though we platoon 5, we run 3. It runs from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., and 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So if we don't have that coverage, our open shift overtime would be about $501,000 just for the open shifts. This is the report staying late. It'd be $501,745. Our vacation line balloons up to $247,000 because we still have to give people time off. The desk coverage, so.
And to make the point, if the same people are filling the open shifts, they're going to be
burnt out,
burning out,
And getting sick,
And that's
and
when.
injuries.
more of the time off that we need to cover.
So we can talk about people leaving too. Years ago, it was a struggle for people to leave this department when they wanted to because they had to have permission. And we asked the town to have us leave civil service because it creates an easier way to hire and promote. And we did that. And I did mention this before. The downside to leaving civil service is no one needs my permission to leave. So if we get cut and we're down to 10 patrol officers for the street and one decides to leave, I can't stop them. Just wish them well. So these numbers here, if you see that total, the desk coverage, let's get into the desk coverage. If we get cut and we lose our civilian desk staff, we still have to staff the desk. Now, I tried to save money earlier in the year when we didn't have an overnight desk officer by going dark in the station. We did this for months. We went dark in the station. You had to ring a doorbell to get into the station, and the people at the Holbrook Regional Dispatch Center would answer and then call our guy on the radio, the shift sergeant, and say, you have someone at the door, and then we'd have to come back. There's an enormous liability with that. We have a full-time desk attendant now on the 3 to 11 shift. And a few weeks ago, she saw one of our custodies wrapping a blanket around her neck and attempting suicide. We cannot leave that desk dark. I understand people wanted to go to Holbrook Regional for whatever reason, but it wasn't a fix to eliminate people on the desk. So I think Holbrook does a great job. This is not an indictment on our dispatch center, but we can't leave our station empty. And I don't have the staff to just fill it. So if we have no desk coverage, then we have to hire a prisoner watch overtime, which is not calculated in any of these numbers. So the overall, if you include, you go back to that slide here, where the overall override ask would be about $1.1 million. Going down to here, the total just in this, the vacation time, the open shift, and the desk coverage is 1.3. This doesn't include sick time. This doesn't include mandatory training days at the range for TASER. This doesn't include FMLA. We had 27 weeks of FMLA. We have a very young department, so they're gonna have kids, and they're taking time off to be with their families. It is devastating if you have 10 patrol officers on the street. Some of the things that we've seen, I had mentioned this in a select board meeting about, officers per 1,000. The FBI recommends 2.9 officers per 1,000. So right now with a full staff, we're still way less than that number. But I feel confident that with the team we have, that if we keep the people we have, we're gonna do well here. And if you look at that arrest number, 764, that's a massive jump from 2024 at 627 arrests. Our officers are doing an incredible amount of work. The deputy just released our numbers on social media today for our December numbers, and I believe we had 75 arrests. The month of November, we had 77. Officer Sayers, just behind me, if you're still here, just made arrest number 75 for this month. We still have 10 or 11 days to go. We're on pace for 930 or so arrests. You can't do that with 10 officers. This past week alone, just this week alone, we had a massive brawl at a bar where a family went to a bar in the afternoon after a funeral. We had a robust police response. I went to that. I felt alive. I felt like a cop again going to a call. But we had enough people on the street to handle that call. In the past, we'd have to call Rockland and Whitman to come and help us out. No, but the APD, we handled that call. Like I said earlier, we had an attempted murder, and we all saw somebody try and light my cruiser on fire last week. These are very real things. These aren't anecdotal. This is real stuff that we're handling.
In broad daylight, like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Parking lot,
Yeah.
I mean, I just.
While Barbara was at the station.
Against the building, right against the building.
But feet from the door.
Yeah.
Have you guys questioned Barbara?
She was the distraction.
So there's one thing we could do to stave off the overtime costs if we lose the funding. And it's something that I'm not a fan of, but if I'm tasked with trying to fall within the budget, we eliminate the midnight shift. And on the midnight shift, so we just run a day shift and a 4 to 12. They do it out in Western Mass. But just to give you an idea, in the last few months on the midnight shift, we've had multiple overnight incidents involving suspects fleeing on foot. One of them ditched a gun. We had a motor vehicle crash into a pole on Rockland Street at 6 in the morning. OUI crash into a pole on Ashland Street. Attempted B&Es into car dealerships. Then late December, we had a domestic. The entire shift was tied up at a domestic, and the entire shift at the time was just 3 officers. And then this happened. So that's 2 kids crashing into a house. And if we don't have a midnight shift, what do we say to the fire department? In this homeowner, we had to evacuate this home. We'll see at 7. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is a massive number that I'm asking, but it's the number we need. And it's the number we need for the minimum amount of staffing that we need.
So if you go back to, I'm sorry to make you
No,
back up on
back
this,
there.
but if you go back to the number, this one.
This one here?
Nope,
One
the one
more.
with the breakdown of the
The
overtime.
1.3.
This?
Nope, further forward, sorry.
Cuts will cost more.
Go back to
The overtime, where you
This one?
broke down the overtime. No, forward probably 4 slides at this point.
Yeah.
That one. Yep. So the thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around from a financial side is we're saying if we cut these positions, which cost this amount of money to reach level funded, we incur this much need for overtime. So it's not really level funded. So where is the level funded coming from? And this is not me saying, I want to do this to make it level funded. This is me trying to say, how the heck do you meet level funded if you have all of this need to,
It doesn't.
for overtime? It doesn't,
No, we're stepping over dollars to pick up dimes.
it doesn't compute, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also looking at fiscal year 25 actual. All right, total department is 4.7. Last year's budget somehow was 4.3. I don't remember a decreased budget, but that's okay. It says it here. I believe it.
So the only thing I remember decreasing in any of the recent years should have been budgeted, not actual, because we took positions that were unfilled off of the budget.
But then there was an issue last year. I
They
think
couldn't fill the seat. That was one of the.
shortly before you walked into town meeting, I think you found out that your budget number was different than what
Yes.
you had believed that it was.
Yes, yes. So we had been told that the we all got a level service budget, which would have meant that we were gonna be able to keep, that basically that 3.6 line item would have to fall in line, get level serviced. And when I saw the number of 3,015,000, I knew that was, and we were told we weren't gonna get cuts in services, every department weren't gonna get any cuts in services or people. But I knew that 3,015,000 wouldn't cut it. So Andrew, the town manager, and I went into the town manager's office and we talked about it, and I said that should we stop the hiring of the new people? And it was agreed that we would go forward with hiring the new people and we would try and transfer something. That make sense? Yes. So that's why we didn't stop with the hiring of the 6 new people to bring us to minimum.
So what I'm looking at now is, but compared to fiscal year 25 actual, 4.7 million, the 5.1 of fiscal year 27, it's what? 10%, less than a 10% increase over 2 years, so 5% a year. Whereas if you compare it to the budget, it looks like a much bigger increase. The 26 budget.
Yeah, I think
So-
that the point is level funded is not for your department looking at the line item budget from FY '26.
Right, I'm only
Is
speaking
not,
of one
is not-
specific line.
Level funded is not accurate to say the number we have listed on the FY '26 budget is
Yeah,
what
that's
your
a good way to
department's
put it.
budget actually has been this year.
I'd much rather look back at the actual 25, because
Yeah.
you were doing what you do with that money that you spent in 25, which is more than the budget in 26. So you must have spent more. If you got all these other people, you must have spent a lot more than the budget in 26, or going to spend more.
We are going to spend more
Yeah,
than we were
yeah.
budgeted.
And
Yes,
we
so
have-
So the level
Our
27
salary line
is not-
Projected.
our salary line now, just in
Yeah.
the salary line, should be about 140, if I remember correctly, 145 to 155,000 over what we budgeted. But what we're trying to, I don't want to get off of this.
Yeah,
Looking for the-
Follow the path you were doing.
So
come back to
basically,
this later, but-
We have other lines that I'm trying to hold off on spending to sort of help out and defray that.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a line in there for, in the personnel line. This shift differential line, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't spent anything out of that line yet. We're taking it all out of the salary. And hopefully, we can cushion the blow of that salary, right?
Yeah.
And I am anticipating, if everyone stays healthy, that vacation time will be less of a cost because we have a line for vacation. That vacation line is for overtime incurred because people are taking vacation. But now that we have a staff, we'll go to this here.
Yeah.
Now that we have this staff, vacation time doesn't cost us money every time someone takes it. So I'm hoping that we're able to, because of this, fall within
Button on this one.
close.
Yeah.
That we're not,
Sorry, your mic is flashing red at us.
It corrects itself
Doesn't matter.
15 seconds.
so expensive.
Just leave it.
That one.
Oh, it's green.
Oh, it's green, you're good.
So we're hoping to sort of cushion the blow of us going over our budget with trying to, I'm asking our guys to kind of hang on a little bit. And I'm telling you what,
I think
Hats off to our
I
phone
think
people.
we're agreeing with you. I don't think we're, I think what I'm saying is level funded here shouldn't be the same as the fiscal year 26 budget,
So,
but I don't know if we can do that.
just as a point of information,
Yeah.
when you're looking at the fiscal '25 budget, that includes the year-end transfers that we made into the police budget.
So like when they were over, remember they came to us and they were over on the overtime?
Yeah.
So,
And it was, how much was it?
I'm not looking at the budget, I'm looking at
was-
the actual.
160,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
it
the
was-
actual includes the
actual is the
transfers,
numbers.
is what Andrew's saying.
Yeah.
Zero it out.
the budget number includes the transfers as
Budget
well.
number or the actual?
But
So,
They're the same, oh, no, they're
Oh, so
not.
that includes like that overtime to make up
So
that.
FY, you're saying for
portion
FY
because now
'25?
yeah,
Fully.
Yeah.
So
The-
for FY '25, we have
I can, hold on. Let me,
budgeted of 4.735 and actual of 4.727.
Right, which is lower.
I have,
Right.
let me open up
Yeah.
the prior year's budget. Can I
don't
take
care
over?
about fiscal year 25 budget. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's what you had to
Yeah,
spend.
there's 685,000.
So,
The point is 4.316 is too low to
Okay.
Right,
compare
yes,
against.
yes.
So this
yeah,
is
that didn't make sense.
the
So
fiscal
the whole-
'25 budget from fiscal '25, and we were at, for salaries, 3.7 million going into '25. So when you look at this year's,
Right, 3.95. Which like is not that big of an increase.
you see that both of these numbers include the budget number includes the transfers because we had to cover the actuals.
Okay. Oh, all right, I know what you're saying. But
Oh,
So
the budget.
the original
also-
'25 budget was 3.7.
all right.
And if
but
you look,
still,
so you start with 3.7, and you go to 26, 3.9, almost 4. So there is an increase between 25 and
yeah,
26.
I think Emily hit it. What I'm trying to say is the level 27 budget column here is misleading because the fiscal year 26 budget was way under, or at
Didn't-
least somewhat
Didn't
under.
properly
what it
account for
should-
the
should have
staffing that
been.
we actually
And the
have.
fiscal year 26 actual will come out higher. So level funded should be more like what we think the actual will
Was
be.
for, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that, yeah.
Based on where we're.
I don't know if you
a
can do
little
that,
Over
but-
halfway through the year.
So the override should be,
Project what the
look
actual
less.
will be.
Same
I can get
number,
those numbers
but
for you.
look
Yeah.
less.
Yeah. So Chris, Andrew's gonna work on projecting
Okay.
what the actual
This,
FY '26 is, because I agree that saying your level funded is a number that literally the instant we passed the budget, we knew was incorrect and is not really relevant to what level funded
Yeah.
should be for you. Because it's not what we're actually spending on your department in this current year.
Because you had an inaccurate number walking into town meeting.
exactly.
And so, because transfers were needed to be made and you had to make up that money elsewhere, that your number that you walked in with was not level funded or level service for 26.
But how can that, just playing the angry townsperson?
Yeah.
Not that I am. I would fund this today if I could. But like, can we explain that inaccuracy? Because it's still a difference to the people, right? Like, they're still voting on the difference. So like, you know, we just don't want someone to get up and say, well, why did that happen? And we're like, we don't know. Oops.
Andrew, do you know why
I'm
that
arguing
happened?
that
There were
they should
unfilled
vote on a
positions that
small
we didn't
difference.
think
No, I
would get filled,
I know, but
but they ended up getting filled.
Don't doubt us.
Unless you manage to work to that smaller number, then I'd say, well, you did it once, you can do it again. But
Yeah.
you didn't.
We didn't. We smoked that budget.
Yes.
There were unfilled positions that you didn't think were going to
I'm
be
not saying
filled.
you shouldn't.
And he was able to fill them because he believed he could fill them. Because he was told he
And-
They were also in civil service, right? And then they're not in civil service for this year.
We're not in civil
Right,
service.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So they were able to actually hire people, whereas the last 6 years, everybody said they couldn't hire people for whatever reason.
Yeah. And as we discussed earlier, what we're seeing with full staffing is that the overtime number is coming.
In the
down.
very,
It's
very,
being-
very small sample size
It's
we have.
not, overtime's not going away. One of
Right.
the conversations we've had with fire, we've had with police over the years is being full staff doesn't make overtime go away.
No, no.
There will always be overtime. There's always the need for overtime.
Right.
However, it does, being full staff decreases the need for overtime.
Yes. So it's my belief that if you go back to the line, the
27?
that person, whatever that, this line, yes, that. Everything below police salaries, I'm very comfortable with. I think we can hit those numbers. I really, really do.
the full staffing.
With the staffing that we
level
have right now.
funded outside of salaries.
Outside of salaries, I feel comfortable with. And if we get funded properly, I promise I'm never gonna ask for this big of a number just to keep the staff we have. I also promise at some point when things get better, I'm gonna ask to expand this staff, because in 2022, we had 25. But that's a want. I'm not here to ask for wants right now.
I just want to, you were budgeted for 25. You've not had 25 staff in many years.
Many years.
Many
Many
years.
years.
Probably been since before '08, that the numbers have actually been.
We've had, we're in a different position.
Yeah.
And I frequently get asked.
Activity in the
Are
town
you
has
taking
grown."
laterals? Like, that's
Are you taking what?
laterals.
Transfers.
People want to come here.
That's great.
It
And
is. It's a
when,
very different position than we were in a few years ago,
For many years.
for the entire time I've been on this board.
yeah. So earlier today, I guess I'll wrap it up. Earlier today, I was having a conversation with Lieutenant Canada. He was talking to me about a conversation he had while he was in a class. And someone in the class said something about, like, if you took all of the police officers that left the Abington Police Department and put them together to make their own department, you would have the best department in the state. Of all the people that left. You know, over the years, we've indeed lost exceptional officers, among them Timmy Kane is a chief in Hanover. Lieutenant Sakoch is in Weymouth. Detective Sergeant Cantalupo and Sergeant Suarez in West Bridgewater. Sergeant Davern in the Pembroke Police Department, who just earned his PhD. A few years ago in this very room, we stood before the select board and told the town and the select board that people were going to be leaving here if we didn't fix the budget problem. And this community rallied and approved contracts that made our people competitive with other agencies. And today we find ourselves in a similar predicament. Competitive wages alone don't solve the problem if we have to cut half our staff. It's just not a solve for it. So compensation must be paired with sustainability. And keep in mind, this is the bare minimum. We don't have extras, so it's just the bare minimum. Over the past year and a half, we've worked collectively to build a culture of accountability and one that prioritizes character and integrity and professionalism in every new hire. With this team accomplished in such a short period of time, it would take agencies many years to do. It's a clear indicator that this group understands the fundamental truth that success is a choice here. And hard work is not something to avoid, but to embrace. I mean, no disrespect to those who moved on from our agency, but I disagree with the notion that the alumni department would be the best in the state. The men and women that stand behind me have chosen to be great, and losing any one of them would be devastating. And within our building are future chiefs and deputy chiefs and leaders who will shape the next generation of policing. I would put their skill, talent, and hunger against any police department in the state. We ask for your support in this budget. It's $15. It's $15. And I'm not gonna, I know budgets are tight, especially with our senior community. But at $15, the community will retain dedicated men and women who are willing to place themselves in harm's way for complete strangers. They'll pursue armed criminals at high speed, intervene to prevent somebody from reaching for a weapon, cross state line to arrest rapists, and deploy to hurricane-ravaged regions to help those who lost everything. These aren't hypotheticals. These are real examples of the extraordinary work this team has done, and I'm endlessly proud of our group. Supporting this budget is an investment in their commitment, your safety, and a continued excellence of the Abington Police Department. So please help us out.
Thank you, Chiefs.
Thank you very much.
Questions? Anyone have anything? I don't think there's much more to say than that.
Thank you so much. You all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all the work. All right, continuing our agenda, do we have any liaison reports? Abby, nothing. Chris?
No.
Barbara?
No, that was,
I don't have any. Greg? Floyd? Nothing? We also do not have correspondence. I did check. There was nothing. We do not have any minutes to review this week. Our next meeting, do we have anyone in line for next week, Andrew?
So, of the remaining departments, a lot of these will have to wait till later. So, we have DPW, we usually wait until the end of the winter, so they can have a report and stuff.
Accurate.
Both the school department and South Shore VOTEC, we should wait for the governor's budget for those. For the treasurer, we're waiting on health insurance rates and for the debt schedule to be finished, so it
That's not bad.
might not make sense to meet until we have more information that's solid.
Didn't last 2 weeks.
So do we want to check the calendar and see what the date is? Do we want to aim for February 4th?
Yeah.
I think we could try for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So no meeting next week. We'll aim for February 4th for our next meeting.
Yeah.
I know that Tom Hickey, the superintendent from South Shore VOTEC, reached out about when to schedule him coming in. He did say sometime in February. I don't know if he can do the 4th, but
I'll reach out. I haven't been
We'll
able to
see.
get in touch with him yet.
yeah, we'll see if that works for him or if that's too soon. So,
Do you want, will you reach out since I'm liaison or?
Uh,
or is that fine?
Andrew's already on the email with him, so
That's fine, just wondered.
sorry.
that's okay. I'm in your way.
No, no.
I have a couple of general questions.
Yes.
So first, and remind me, because I've only been to one town meeting. How much, I remember there was a motion, is that what, or once something goes up for vote.
So
Yeah.
there's articles on, like warrant articles.
Sure, yes, I forget terminology, but
Yep,
just like,
that's okay.
when- before they
I'm
say,
trying to help
everyone
out.
raise your hand, whatever.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity for questions, but then sometimes even when there were no questions, someone would go up and explain a little bit. So like, how much of that can happen for,
By that, you mean what the chief just?
right, like
talked
basically the
about?
slide where it's like,
Yes.
it will cost
There-
more than,
There will be I'm guessing this year, there will be a lot of that.
right, okay, so,
So-
I just, how
So-
long can the town meeting go for? Is that
that's-
bounded?
It's a
or-
fair question to ask.
Okay, I just,
I will tell you that town meetings can be carried over to the following night. That has happened in
Oh,
the past. if it
okay.
gets to- It hasn't happened anytime recently. It has
Yep.
happened that we've had to push it out because
for lack of getting a quorum, but we haven't, it hasn't recently had to have an extra night for town meeting
Yep.
to finish it.
Okay.
But it does happen.
Okay.
But I bet that there'll be able to be handouts and some things condensed down a little bit to get the point across. And I think there'll probably be a lot of informationals.
Okay.
No matter how much information you put out ahead of time, though, there is going to be a whole bunch of people that are going to tell you that they heard nothing about it. So it's great if you share the information with your neighbors or your paper boy
Oh, yes,
or
absolutely.
your,
They had no excuses.
anyone that's, asks you a question at the supermarket.
In my calendar, what day is the town meeting again?
May 4th.
Yet apparently we get no extra time.
No, all right.
Excellent.
Go figure.
Okay, second question,
So,
which,
so just to,
Yeah.
just to go back to your original question.
Yes.
There are articles on the warrant. Each thing that we
Yes.
go over and vote on is called an article. Each article, we will provide a recommendation on. Our recommendation could be to defer to the planning board if it's a planning article that doesn't have any kind of financial impact. We could recommend to pass it. We could recommend, or to approve it. We could recommend to pass over, which means we're saying no to it. We want you to vote no. So we provide our recommendations, and we also provide the motion, which are the words from the lawyers to say this is exactly how you need to say this to do it. Like if there's funding involved, it lists the funding sources and things like that.
okay.
Usually on each article, I will, the chairman of the finance committee or an appropriate other person will provide some sort of initial description. If it's a straightforward, smaller
Yeah.
article, we
Yeah.
could go right to a vote. If it's complicated, we usually have more discussion.
The budget is usually one article.
Yes, the budget is one
The
article.
main budget,
Yeah.
then the.
Right.
There's other,
Yes.
Yeah.
ancillary or.
So it will be interesting to see how exactly the budget is laid out on the warrant this year. I have not been part of one
Right.
that will be quite like this, so.
Okay, actually, now I have two other questions. One, are we just not talking about the trash situation this year?
Oh, we're gonna talk about it.
Well, it came up a couple of times and Scott had said,
gonna
oh
come up
no,
again."
we're not
So
putting that up.
what happened with that is that we
Oh.
went to
Oh,
right,
I
so you know,
remember.
right? So we went to last town meeting, and so, I think when the selectmen were directing, Scott on this year's budget, there wasn't any change made. I
There
don't.
there wasn't an appetite from the selectmen or Scott to try again.
So it's just gonna be factored into.
It's just
what
factored.
we're
It will be a
doing,
budget. It'll be
okay.
part of
Okay.
the.
Yes,
of the budget.
Health Department budget, which we had them already.
And then my third
And we talked
question,
about
which, so we're talking about level funded, level services. And I want to make sure I'm understanding something, because what we funded last year, we still have a deficit of, to be determined. Is there a world in which, like, that's not enough? Like, because we used some, like, one time, right? Didn't we use some one time? So, like, I like hate to put it out there, but like, are we budgeting low enough given that we don't want to rely on those one-time funding sources, which may or may not even exist anymore? So like,
That's part of the process that we're going through and will get through down to the end before we actually
Okay.
make a,
Yeah, but-
make a
Our
recommendation
department heads, like,
and
go
have a
later.
budget that will go
Okay.
to town meeting.
okay, because like
We'll
there-
kind of discuss all of that, like after we meet with
okay,
all of the departments.
Cause like I'm kind of seeing where we're like, oh,
So-
this is the minimum, and,
So-
but this is ideal, and I'm like, is that the minimum?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
So just to let you know, right now, we're in the process of meeting with the departments and going through kind of where they're at,
like what they're asking.
what they're asking, where they're at, what their differences are, which is not a usual part of this part of the process.
Right.
Once we have the governor's numbers and a better idea of what the finances look like for FY '27, Andrew and the interim town manager will be providing us more detail on, this is kind of the summary and the overall of here's what we're projecting for revenues, here's what we're projecting for expenses, and here's where we're at. And we'll have, instead of just revenues, expenses, we'll have revenues and expenses with level funded, expenses with level service, I assume.
Yes.
So that we're able to look at the overall picture and where we've gotten to, and we keep working through, and town manager and accountant, the finance team, the department heads, keep working outside of our meetings to try to pare down and get the budget as balanced as they can possibly get it.
And
It
right
sounds
now,
like we're gonna be
departments,
below the minimum. I think that's what
You
you're
mean
asking.
Well, that
resources.
So
Well, just in money.
Just
just in mind,
Yeah, I
right?
mean-
Because we have a,
to the extent that we do not have enough one-time revenue to get to level funded,
Correct.
there will be additional cuts.
Right.
right. So that was okay. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding that like.
Right.
right now, we're kind of in the boat where the departments know what they need,
Right.
right, for their budget. We don't know what we have.
Right.
And then-
so I've been in a position where I thought I could not possibly reduce my team size to meet what leadership was telling me, and I said this is the minimum, and I still had to go below that, and it all worked out. But like I was like, are we in a similar situation where like we might have to go back to them and say, you think that's the minimum? Unfortunately,
You will have input.
you have to
That-
make additional cuts, right? Like.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
You may,
that,
absolutely.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Because that is sort of the crux. We're trying to be conservative.
Yeah.
We want the departments to tell us what they need. We want to hear, what does fire need? What does police need? What does the clerk need? Clerk, there are certain things you can't cut. There are services that have to be provided. They're mandated by law. Then we look and see, okay, what's that number? Then we look at our reserves. What are we getting in for local aid? What is free cash? The problem is if we drain everything and there's an emergency, then we're tapping into the reserve fund. And if we go through that, it's a challenge because we collectively know firsthand what the departments are saying. It's hard to get that message out very quickly, and I think, Barbara, to your point, when you were talking about how the process, trying to get the information out there, there's such a small window. We're gonna have a lot of information out there. There's a lot of information right now on the town accountant's website. There'll be even more information out there. And some residents will think it's a lot of information, but, we want people to be able to take a look at it. More information's always better. In the end, we may have a perfect mix. When I say we, as the financial team, FinCom, we may say, okay, these are the great numbers. This is the number that needs to fit in. This is what, we'd be asking for an override for police, for fire, et cetera. Ultimately, it's gonna be what the townspeople feel is a number that they can afford to pay.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think what we'll need, we don't know the revenue. We'll know that much better in 4 weeks. We'll also know that we need to dip into the reserves to pay for the snow, because we're getting hit. And we never put enough into the snow budget,
Yep.
because we magically can go over that and nobody cares. I still don't understand it, but that's what I'm told. And you don't
It's
have
every
to pay
year,
it
it's every year the exact same
You have to
thing.
pay it over a number of years, but not really, but And we're already dipping into that not really part. And we're getting hit again.
But if you fund it more, you're tied to it.
Right.
You
well,
tied to the
that's
high
fine,
number.
because
That's correct.
we always
We're
go
gonna
through.
try inches
But
this
I'm not
weekend.
arguing that point now, but I think we need to take that into account when we post those two numbers.
I've lost that battle every single year. Where I'm like, just bump it by 100 grand.
Yeah.
Like, let's just start there.
I understand both sides of it.
I
This
actually
can
don't
also-
understand the
in my
opposite end,
opinion,
because
this
we've
can
never
also
had that
be-
number.
This can also be the issue with having a menu-style override, right? Is because you don't know what the end result of that is
So-
gonna be.
So that was gonna be my last question, is in terms of the order, is there a summary up front of, here's what they're all asking for, this is what the total number would be, an explanation of what each would mean and the cuts, and then we start voting? Or is it one by one, like who decides the order? Like, is it smallest to largest? Is it alphabetical? Like, that's probably not this group, but just like the framing of it, I feel like is very significant when it comes to a menu style.
Well, just even in my opinion,
Police, I was very concerned with the police number. They're getting penalized
For an error, like, or,
because their budget last year was
inaccurate.
understated. No offense to anyone,
No,
no
no.
complaints, but
It
it,
happened.
their level funded this year should show a bigger number than
yeah.
Yes.
everybody else's, I think, but I don't know if that's a lot.
No, I agree, you're dead on with it. I mean,
Yeah,
A lack of a better term, it feels messy, in my opinion, to be putting, like, it just feels unnecessary and messy to be putting the departments against each other when it's already so messy.
well, and so that's why I'm a little confused at the like two approach that you laid out at the beginning of like a single budget could go to town hall and we could all vote on that, and then we,
If this committee were to
right,
come up with, it were to go against, not, excuse me, give me the,
Recommend.
an alternative.
pass over.
Pass over.
If we were to pass over the recommendation of the town manager's recommendation, which includes a menu-style override to balance your budget, we would then, you don't have to, you could just say pass over, it, but you've got to offer up something else, another,
Right.
So you would come up with, the group would discuss, what,
So hypothetically,
So-
that one would go first. If we were to come up with an alternative recommendation, that would go first. Presumably, it is harder to pass one big
Override.
expensive override than the smaller ones. But if it were, we would just, all the other ones would be done. We would all go home and
So,
have dessert and.
well, so at town meeting, the budget will be presented as a warrant article. There'll be the discussion on the budget. I believe we'll be presenting two budgets. We'll present one that's level funded and one that's level service. If the level service budget is what is passed, we will then have to go for an override vote because we will not have the funding for it. And this is, I think, more a question to the interim town manager, because this is not a process I've gone through. Barbara went through this. Were you on the, you were on the committee the last time we went for override in like 09-ish. So I haven't gone through this, but is it in the way that the motion is stated at town meeting, how you end up,
you put yourself into an override.
Right.
how you end up going for the override, like menu versus lump sum?
There
how
won't be the
does-
option on the table if it's,
Right.
if you go with the way that the selectmen and the town manager have crafted the budget. That would be you'd put yourself into an override by voting, by approving that budget, that level
So you would put yourself into,
service budget.
so you would put yourself into an override, but how is the method of override menu versus lump sum?
because
How
there
is-
isn't.
That's already
How
been,
is that-
That would
that's
already be-
decided now, because the selectmen, in my understanding, I wasn't here for that part, but they voted, it's a menu option, so there's a line for police, there's a line
I
for
thought it was a
fire.
done deal.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was the part I didn't understand.
But I think you were
Barbara,
right.
You were saying that we had the option to.
Right, because the selectmen and the town manager are a separate entity, and we make a recommendation on what is presented to us, whether we agree with it or not. So we're like we're kind of acting as representatives for the townspeople prior to town meeting by saying, yes, we recommend approval of this article, or we recommend passing over this article. If we were to pass over the budget article, because we didn't agree with it as a board, we can present what we feel should be done alternatively.
Yeah. Which is where like knowing that ultimate number.
But now I've got back to this question. If we agree with the town, whatever they are, selectmen, and we want a menu, what does the menu look like in the warrant? Is there a
Is the
menu in the
in the
warrant?
warrant? This is the
No,
part I'm
because
not-
you'd be voting, so.
You have to go to the polls for that.
Right, so the way I've seen it is you're gonna have the two budgets, level service, level funding. It depends what, so they'll put both of those on the floor, they'll have the town meeting vote. Usually that's how they do it, town meeting, whatever the highest number, that's the carrying one. So if the level service, then that automatically forces that they would have to be the override. And then at the ballot, you would have those menu options.
So
that would
so
make
this
up
doesn't
So I
happen
think
at
the-
town
the-
meeting.
Right, no, it doesn't.
No,
You have then
it
a separate
happens
election, which is why I was asking
The
Leanne,
Saturday after town.
how much would this override election is
I
gonna
was thinking we're
cost?
going one by one at town meeting,
No.
and that's why I was like, how long can town
No,
meeting
no,
be?
So if
No, so
Okay.
at the ballot.
and the townspeople will be
Yeah.
well aware when they're voting on the budget, it'll be explained that if you vote for this level funded budget,
It's
this is
no
the outcome, there's no override. If you vote for this level service budget, we will need to have an override.
Happens if both fail.
Well, if one fails, the whole thing fails. They both have to pass, they have to pass at town meeting and at the ballot.
No, no, no.
No,
I'm
if-
saying,
So it's
I'm
not
saying,
Both level funded and level service.
That would mean
If
that
they vote
everyone would
pass.
have to
If we
vote
do not
against
pass a
both.
budget, then
no, I
we have to-
understand, but like, people are very much like,
We have to have if we don't pass a budget, we have to essentially have special town meetings until we pass a budget.
Yeah.
We'd be meeting the next night for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
The last 3 years, only one person has voted against the budget. Me,
okay,
at town
that's
meeting.
good news, I guess,
I
but,
think
but I
they'd be
think,
voting against the.
well,
the-
right, but I
the
think
level
there's a
service.
lot more, or maybe I'm just paying
So-
attention more now, but it does seem like there's a lot more frustration and anxiety around like, we're already paying so much, which is why I was asking about like the
Yeah.
minimum, like,
Right.
are we going below the minimum? Because if people think they're already paying too much, if things are being mismanaged, whatever that means, like, you know, I could foresee more than just one person voting against, yep.
So I think that's why, like in previous years, I've said, you literally just have to sit, and it depends what the numbers really do come out at. But like you literally look at everybody and say, we appreciate it, we love that you did all this work, and it's a lot. We know it's a lot, but you're gonna have to cut 5 or 7% out of it, period. Because it's a tough one, I get it, but that's also life.
It's
Like,
not though, because
it is.
5% on a library budget and 5% on a fire department budget
That's
look
5%,
very different.
but it's 5%.
5% on a library budget means that you're gonna lose your.
It doesn't matter, it's still
ability-
5%. That's what I'm saying, like, it's still
So-
5%. Like, it's not hurting anybody more because the number's bigger, because your budget's bigger.
No, the
Barbara's point is,
consequences.
it is hurting people more, because, for example, the library budget, where there are state mandates that you must spend, like you must spend this amount and this, you have to do this and this. If you go 5% and you're below that number, you lose your accreditation and you lose.
No, I know, but if the answer
ability to
always
operate
sort
as a
of is
library,
that,
so.
right? The answer
There are
always
only
is
a
that.
handful of departments that's the case for. That's not the case for every department.
But there's only a handful of, how many departments are there? There's not 20 departments, right?
It's close
Well,
to,
yeah, close to it.
close to
Yeah.
20 departments.
So there's 20 people that came up here?
Yeah.
I thought there was like 14, 15 tops.
No, I think there's more than that.
You know.
Yeah.
Andrew will tell us.
Andrew, let's go back to your website.
But yeah, I get that it will, bottom line, affect different. If you, I don't, I mean, it's just, if everybody sitting at this table.
21.
21.
So if everybody sitting at
Thank
this
you.
table had to decrease money because of X, you wouldn't have a choice, you know what I mean? Like, there's no choice, you just have to go to as much as you can and say,
Decrease from what?
And like-
Decrease from their budget or decrease from what they actually spend? So someone who passed their budget last year or the year before,
I agree,
they don't have to cut as much.
but I think all we get to look at is
But
the
do you
actual
feel like
budget.
people are padding their budget?
I suspect that there are places that there are things in the budget that have always been there that we don't always spend. You know, when I look at there's always one
Sure.
that I can look at actual, and I look at the budget and say, actually, you only spent 500, the budget says 2,000. And everyone says, it's only $1,500, we don't care. But that's probably true, but there's always something
Sure.
that is in the budget that nobody quite knows why it's that number. And those people, oh yeah, I can cut 1,500 right off the bat. No, yeah, but did you really cut anything?
I was just trying to go with a simple, easy way of
Yeah.
going about it, because
Yeah.
if you start looking at each individual one, in my opinion, it gets a little bit more, one, personal, and two,
Yes.
harder.
Yeah.
Like if you were to look at each one of my employees and say, all right, I'm gonna cut 2% out of you, just say, and 5% out of you,
Yeah.
those are pretty tough conversations to have with people. If everybody knows they're getting cut 5%, 7%, whatever the number ends up being, I have no idea. We're close. I don't know, but
But we have so many unfunded mandates
I agree.
that,
Yeah.
that cutting, in some, that amount in some departments,
I agree.
is gonna put us out of compliance with things.
I agree. Yeah.
And then you're gonna
So-
get fined, and then you're gonna pay
So-
money the other way.
Putting that aside for a moment, I do want to go back to menu versus lump sum. I'm not seeing in the discussion where we have a say in that and control.
Yeah.
It's something you can look into, but it is, so you can have a town managers, if you look back, to 2000, either 10 or 11, there should be a town manager's recommended budget, a finance committee recommended budget, and I believe we had 3 lines, 3 columns at one time. So
So I understand the different recommended budgets, but at the point where the town votes to adopt a budget that puts us in need of override, I don't see where it's the finance committee that's determining how we get that override. I can see us recommending a budget that takes us into the need for override,
correct.
but I don't see us as having the say in how that's presented to the town.
You can give a recommendation. You can give a different recommendation. The finance committee can give a different recommendation than what is, and then the townspeople can vote on it. It's not, there's no, nobody's tied to it. It's not a, but the finance committee can give its own recommendation.
So at town meeting, if they vote for the WUMP, if we were to put forward a recommendation for the WUMP override, and they vote on that, then it would change what's on the ballot. So the ballot would then just be, do you vote for an override, yes, no?
Correct.
Of this amount versus,
If we put forth a different recommendation, so just hypothetically, if the finance committee put forth a different recommendation for the budget article that involved a lump sum override, and we got to town meeting, the finance committee's recommendation is read first, is that correct?
The finance committee makes the motion.
Makes the motion. So the finance committee would motion to make that.
So I'm going to look to the interim town manager on this. As
So-
my expertise is not.
Yeah.
Let me just real quick say what I think, based on past experience, might be the way that it happens, is the wording of the motion includes the funding sources, and the wording of the motion, I think, would have to include, for a budget that is not balanced, would have to include wording on
override,
an override.
because
And
that would make up the difference, the
that
balance.
would make up the difference.
And the sources.
Does it, would the wording be able to prescribe the manner of override?
So I'm going to share how I think it works, and, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I believe the select board is the only one that has the authority to put ballot questions. And their ballot question, they've already done, and it's the menu option, fortunately or unfortunately, however people feel, but there'll be, so to your point, depending on what budget was voted, the preamble that you read and the warrant of how that's funded, the actual motion is the legal document. The warrant article, as everyone knows, that's just to get people's interest and know what's coming up. So the legal motion will then say, when we get to the level service budget, it would say where the money's coming from to continue the level service, because you're gonna pass, in order to have level service budget, we have X amount of money, but to get to that point, I'm just gonna throw, now this is not the way, I'm just throwing it out. Say we had to make up 4 million, then that 4 million's broken down by these departments, so there's like 7 different motions. One's for the police, we took one out, so actually there's gonna be 6, because it's not gonna be 4 new police, but there'd be one for the police department, one for the fire department. I pulled it out just to take a look at it. There'd be one for the school department, one for the DPW, one for the Council on Aging, one for the library, and that's how they would work.
Because the selectmen do decide what it looks like on the ballot.
Yeah,
The
so there's
finance
no
committee has
point.
nothing to do with that.
Now, I will confirm all this, because I'm not a lawyer.
Yep.
So I will ask.
Now, I know that the
clarify for them.
selectmen are in charge of what
appears on
what
the
would
ballot.
appear on the ballot.
So that was part of why I thought that it was not something that we would have.
right, so then why put up a lump?
We can make a different recommendation, and we can,
We can make a different
Recommend to pass
recommendation,
over.
but
It
they
will
don't
be
have to
ignored.
put it on the ballot.
Right, yeah.
I mean, if
If
the
they've already made
townspeople,
the
the
decision.
townspeople would speak, that is
Yeah,
what the
right.
point would be, right?
But would you go up and say, we're passing over this recommendation from the select board, and then leave it at that, and then
So-
when it goes to vote?
What would have to happen is a motion would have to be made to amend the funding sources,
Oh, I see.
I think.
But how much discussion could there be beforehand?
A
That's,
lot.
well, if people stand up and ask questions, or just,
I think,
I have another concern, and well, we were talking to this paper from Mrs. Grimmett, where we could use our library, and I understand the selectmen, I guess, got to make the final call, but we could lose our library accreditation if they're disproportionately in comparison.
Right.
When Greg was talking about his 5% across the board. So I guess that's kind of a concern I have with if the library one doesn't pass, and
But here's the
And we
thing.
discussed that with them at the time, and there's a waiver process.
Okay,
On
because
that,
I
that
think
they-
that's another
that they can-
concern I have besides.
believe-
And they have other pools of money that's
Yes.
off budget, that their money that they get from the state.
Yep.
And they could
Okay.
dip into that if they didn't get their 13,000.
Yes.
The reason that I say on the percentage is if you go to a manager and you say that this is what you have to do, you expect that person to not make decisions for you to lose the accreditation.
Yes. No, and I wasn't.
Like, so,
calling you
no,
out just
but
to
that's what,
compete with
I
us.
hear that all the time with things, and I get it, I understand, like, I'm not saying, so what I'm saying is not to like cut something so we all of a sudden lose accreditation, or we're not, but my point is, it's, every department's gonna have something like that, right? If they don't have X, we're not gonna be able to get grants. If we don't have X, if we don't have X in the bank, we're not gonna get a good bond rating. So we're not gonna get good loans. Like, there's an answer to it all. It's just at some point, you just have to,
It
Sometimes
just
it
made me think
stinks.
of this, which made me think, oh, I think the lump sum would make more sense, because then it keeps everyone more proportionate.
and last thing, I just wanted to, before I forget, everybody says we're in bad financial times. Fiscal year 2025, Massachusetts state collected 43.7 billion. It's the most it's ever collected ever. They're budgeting for 43.6 billion in 2026, which they didn't budget for that. They budgeted significantly less.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's 7%. I don't know how much we ended up getting over it for the 25th budget, but I don't remember it being 7% from my recollection of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it goes
the-
somewhere, I don't
the-
know.
The issue that is facing towns and cities and municipalities within Massachusetts is that while the state budget and the state revenues are going up, the state revenues are being used for priorities other than the cities and towns of
Sure.
the state of
Got
Massachusetts.
it. I just, but,
All at a time while.
Last year, we were somewhere around, our state aid did increase, but it increased by somewhere around 1%.
I thought it was-
Yeah, 1.6% net.
Yeah.
so,
Which.
So there was that
we
study you
talked-
emailed
Yes.
months ago. That was interesting. That
Yeah, the
basically
Mass
showed-
Municipal study that broke down what the challenges are.
and I feel bad because
Facing, and it's, from numbers that I heard, I think it was over the weekend, there was somewhere in the vicinity of 60 to 70 communities that are actively looking at going for overrides.
right.
This is systemic. When
Yeah.
fixed costs like health insurance and pension go up by, 10, 12, 14% year after year after year,
Yeah.
and we're limited by 2.5, and state aid's 1.6%, we're gonna run into difficulties. That's just how the system is designed.
Yeah, the
And
way,
everything's mandated, not everything, there's a lot of mandated things. So you have mandated things along with it, so you can't cut, so you're literally just,
It's a vicious circle.
it's just frustrating sometimes,
It is.
because at the end of the day, I don't want to say, well, you have to cut 5 people,
Right.
but if that's what has to happen, like, what else are the other things? If we have to raise taxes, it's the only other way. You either cut spending, raise taxes, or do a
Right.
portion of
And
both.
it's gonna be up to the taxpayers.
Right.
Yes.
We're gonna make the argument, like with the fire department, it's somewhat easy to make the argument if you had to make, God forbid, you had to make a cut in the fire department and they didn't support. We got 2 ambulances, if we went for 1 ambulance, do you wanna be the second call that night?
And we've
If
been
we-
there before.
as the
We've
chief-
been down to 1 ambulance. We've been
Or-
down to 1 station
as the chief,
covering the entire town.
police chief talked about tonight, if we have to cut and we have to not have an overnight shift,
Right.
do you want to be the one that needs the police at 2 in the morning?
But that's the problem. Another problem with the menu is that people don't feel the same emotional way about a library accreditation that they do about their house burning down.
They don't, but they also look and say
Just- I just
$13,000 for
wanna-
the library versus 4 million
Yeah.
total, 13,000.
Yes, but I mean, that's the,
If I may, I just want to
Yes.
correct this misnomer. If the library got cut to 13,000, they're not losing their accreditation. So I don't know where that came from, but people do watch this, I just want to make sure people know that.
Yeah, if the library's cut disproportionately, so
Yes.
what she was saying is if the library doesn't
get an override, and all other departments do, their cut proportionately to the other departments is a factor in
Or any,
whether they can
any
lose.
department, right? Like fire, police, you know, like people don't feel as strongly about the schools if they don't have kids in the school, right? It's all just what matters to you. So like, that's, I think, the issue is that some departments might have more like visibility, for certain households than others. And like, some of the work isn't as front and center or as exciting, but still really important. So it gets into that, you know, that education piece.
Which can then pit departments
Against each other.
departments
Makes
Because
sense.
messy.
Yeah, but that's all right.
have
It's
to
a done, they made,
Advocate for your
they
department.
made the decision, so,
We can't do anything about it.
yeah.
so.
Okay.
Wait, what can't we do anything about? What did I miss?
Menu.
The menu, that's been decided.
Oh, we're definitely doing a menu?
That's
That's
the
the selectmen.
Select
selectmen
board
have
voted
that.
that in the fall.
Decided.
So that's something they control and not us.
So there'll be, sorry, I thought that we still had a choice.
We can
Got it.
choose to pass over.
Yeah, yeah.
But on the
all right,
ballot-
So that's all I wanted to know.
Right, but on the
Okay.
ballot, it's gonna be a menu style, no matter what.
If we pass over, no.
If the finance committee chooses to pass over the recommended budget, you would have to have an alternative. But the selectmen would still be the deciding factor of how that what that looks like at the polls.
They could change their mind if they thought the townspeople made
Had
their opinion known by the vote. Or they could say, tough cookies. We made the decision. The language is already drafted. Let's print it.
I have a question. At town select meeting on December 8th, the issue was brought up about free cash being certified from Powers and Sullivan from the audit. Is there an update on that?
Well, Powers and Sullivan doesn't exist. They were bought out by Malcolm. Malcolm was bought out by CBiz, and I'll let Andrew explain those.
Since January 8th?
No. Jenna.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was like, whoa, this is not
No,
stable.
Yeah, no. Malcolm bought them out a few years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and then CBiz bought them out maybe a year or so ago.
I must have wrote it wrong.
So we're finalizing our free cash calculations, and we'll submit that by the end of the month to the state for their approval.
But it has been certified by the auditor? Or it hasn't?
The auditor doesn't certify free cash.
Oh.
The state does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
DOR, yeah.
Anything else?
These are all great. I mean,
These, yeah,
I've-
this is important
I've been
discussion.
involved in
I
the
have so
process a
many
long time.
questions,
These are
but-
all
Yes.
great
It's,
questions.
no, it's not, okay. I'm tired.
Mr. Stella, really quick, is there,
Again, call me
sorry,
that.
is there an update on the search for town manager?
Oh, yeah.
There is an update. The town manager search committee has met a couple of times. We have reviewed, it's either 20 or 21 resumes. We have set up interviews for this coming Saturday. We will be interviewing a handful of candidates that we felt were the best fit. And then out of those interviews, we will be passing on at least 3 to the select board for them to set up their interviews with.
Thank you for being our representative.
Absolutely. I have my stack of resumes right here. There's a lot of reading and note-taking.
Is that many resumes?
Yeah.
Big
So.
X's drawn through it.
There were a handful that were X's right away. People that are well-intentioned but do not have the qualifications to be a town manager. Not sure exactly why they chose to apply for a town manager position.
I
but-
once applied for a job I was unqualified
Oh,
for,
I've-
and I got an interview because they said they liked my confidence.
I have applied.
That too.
I was like,
Applied for a
"Alright."
job that I was completely unqualified for as well, but I also knew that I was not going to get.
I applied to many jobs I
So.
wasn't qualified for because the year was 2020 and I
Well, mine was like a potential career change, and they thought they liked the confidence. So,
Yeah.
Lot to be said for confidence.
Most definitely.
right. Motion to
Adjourn.
adjourn?
Second?
There's a motion to adjourn and a second. Is there any discussion?
are we at the bottom of the, what's that thing called?
Agenda? We are.
Okay.
We're at the motion to adjourn.
We're well past the bottom. We're well past the bottom of the agenda. The bottom of the agenda was next meeting, which we
Okay.
discussed like a half an
Sorry,
hour
and then I
ago.
had
So,
questions.
but the questions have
Oh,
all
yeah.
been good. So any more questions? All right, any further discussion? Without any, all those in favor of adjourning? All those opposed, abstaining, it is unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you all and see you in 2 weeks.